Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. The city announcing a plan to potentially forgive almost $1 billion in Cleveland home loans. Now, these would have been loans that were given between 2005 and 2011. It was a plan that was done by the city around them to encourage home ownership, particularly in homes that were refurbished, redone. Now, here's the thing. This centered around, again, refurbished homes between 2005 and 2011. And many of those were in one particular area of the city of Cleveland, and that is Cleveland's east side. So many of these people took those loans opportunities to afford these homes. The property value of these homes increased, and a lot of them potentially could have been seeing some issues. So the city now in a place where they can forgive these loans that were once a federal responsibility and really encourage these people to potentially do more with their home or pay off their mortgage, a really great opportunity for many of them. So we spoke earlier today with the city about this. It really offers a chance, again, for these homeowners to have an opportunity. And you'll hear me question or ask, toward the end, what this means for the city who was getting those loans to come in, and they answered that question as well.
Is as it sounds. So there was a legacy program called Afford a Home, and that was taking funds from HUD, and it was from the early '00s. So think circa 2005 is when this program started. Went on for about 10 years, and what it did was the program helped income eligible residents to get a home that was that had just been refinished, right? So they were able to have that home repair. It was a 30-year deferred second mortgage. And so what this means is we, the city, help them to be able to take on additional debt. And what we're doing now is forgiving that debt.
When you consider these homes then versus now, I know a lot of people have seen the value of it skyrocket. So for some of these people, I mean, how big of a deal is it to have this forgiven when they're faced with the rising of inflation, they're faced with the rising cost of just having that home and paying taxes on it? I mean, how big of a deal can this be?
Yeah, I think it's a really big deal, right? So when you think about how this impacts somebody on a day-to-day basis, you're not thinking maybe of your small loan from the city on a daily basis, but it makes a really big impact when you're trying to move, maybe when you're trying to refinance, when you're trying to make other decisions, financial decisions, and you have this debt hanging over you. And so what this does is preemptively makes that free and clear.
Alyssa, how many people are going to be affected by this? How many people were involved in the loan program?
Yeah. So our estimates are around 300. We had over 350 folks take advantage of these loans over time. Some of those have already passed that 30-year time lapse. Our records show that we have loans from as early as 1983. So those are already closed out, but most of ours are within the last 20 to 30 years, and they're coming up on maturing. The last one would mature around 2040. So that they wouldn't be free and clear until that point. And this is really just helping us to be proactive. At this time, whenever folks are making those financial decisions, we get a few dozen, a year. They would appeal to the city, and then the city will go through a process of forgiving them of those debts. But that is quite a process when you're already doing things like trying to sell your house or trying to take advantage of the equity of your home.
For many people that are wondering, well, if this money was supposed to go somewhere, how can it be forgiven? What is the answer to that? How can something like this be forgiven?
Yeah, so it can be forgiven with the authority that we have at the city. So this is actually a program that is not active yet. It has been proposed to council, and so it's awaiting a council hearing and approval to give us an additional tool at the city where we can then help to forgive folks' debt. This is money that would be coming in every once in a while. It would trickle in, and it would trickle for a very long time. This isn't money that the city is relying on getting, and it would have to go to program income. It's complicated money. To be honest, we do forgive this debt already. This is just giving us an opportunity to preemptively forgive it, to close down this program, and let folks not have that debt hanging over their head anymore.
For anybody that's looking at potentially buying a home now, if they see this and they see, okay, so the city has forgiven a loan program in the past, what are you hoping that says potentially to people that are looking at homes all over Northeast Ohio and potentially to make them consider the city?
Yeah. So I think what it shows is that you have commitment from this administration, from our mayor, from the Department of Community Development to put whatever tools we have in place to help support our residents. At the end of the day, it all goes back to the residents. And so if it can help the residents, that's what we're gonna try to promote. So whatever tools that we have, that is through Residents First, which council just passed earlier this week, that came out of building and housing. Again, those are more tools that we have in our toolbox to help residents. And honestly, that is what it is all about.
Residents First is something that we've been talking about here at the station to even look more into, but I think this does kind of filter in as a whole to what we are looking at as far as the protections that you're mentioning and the aid that you're mentioning here. Home ownership is just a complete animal onto its own, but obviously something that can help anybody is a big deal. As you look ahead here, I know we still have to wait for this to be approved. The budget's looking to be approved, things like that. How is your office? How are the individuals that you're working with? How is the administration thinking about attracting more people to come and live permanently back into the city?
Yeah, well, I think it's everything that we do. So I think in the mayor's budget estimate that has just recently come out, what we're doing is focusing on residents. We're trying to make sure that folks have a safe place to live and to work and to grow. And so that is what you see. We have our money where our mouth is. I think our priorities have been clear and consistent. And this is just another example of how we can use the tools that we have to ensure that residents can live well here in Cleveland.
Melissa answered all my questions here. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that we should have?
No, just that we're excited as a department to roll this out. We're excited to have the hearing in front of council and take on any questions. This program did its job. It kept folks, it allowed folks to get in homes that were income eligible. And now it's time for us to forgive this debt. And this is going to have impacts all across the city. There are concentrations on the east side, both on the northeast side and on the southeast side. And so while there will be impacts to those individual residents, we hope that it'll be felt throughout the city.
Yeah, so big deal for those communities there. And coming up on 19 News at 10 and 11, I'm going to break down why it's such a big deal for people in those communities and particularly for the community as a whole. All right, that is it for our coverage here. Of course, much more to come on 19 News at 10 and 11. We also will have at 9:30 our weather stream. So go ahead and stay tuned for everything that we have over here. For now, I'm Joe Sloss with 19 News. Have a great night. We'll see you coming up in a little bit.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for